My name is Susan. I am 54 years old, and I have been on my own since my husband Marcus passed away 8 years ago. My son Tyler is everything I have left in this world. I saved $25,000 over 5 years for his honeymoon fund. When he told me that Saturday night was just a small meeting with some of Christina's coworkers, I believed him. Then I saw the photos online. Before I continue, let me know where you are watching from today. If you have ever felt invisible to the people you love, most hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. Have you ever discovered that your own child was ashamed of you? Stay with me. This story changed everything. My husband Marcus died of lung cancer 8 years ago. Tyler was only 20 years old at the time, just finishing his second year of college. Marcus worked as an electrician his entire adult life. We never had much money, but we had love. We had laughter. We had each other. I remember the day the doctor told us the cancer had spread too far. Marcus held my hand and looked at me with those tired eyes. He said, "Susan, promise me you will take care of our boy. Promise me you will take care of yourself too." I promised him both things. I kept the first promise without question. The second one took me much longer to learn. After Marcus passed, I had to figure out how to survive. I took the life insurance money, about $60,000, and made a decision that scared me to death. I opened a small flower shop. I named it Marcus Blooms because Marcus always said I had a gift for making things beautiful. Those first 2 years were brutal. I worked 16-hour days. I learned how to do arrangements for weddings, funerals, anniversaries, and everything in between. I delivered flowers at 5 in the morning before the shop opened. I did the books at midnight after it closed. Tyler was finishing college, and I refused to let him take out loans. Every extra dollar I made went toward his tuition. Tyler graduated from law school with honors. I sat in that auditorium and cried so hard I could barely see him walk across the stage. He looked so handsome in his cap and gown, so confident, so ready to take on the world. After the ceremony, he found me in the crowd and wrapped his arms around me. He said, "Mom, I could not have done this without you. You are the strongest woman I have ever known." Those words meant more to me than any amount of money ever could. For years after that, Tyler and I were close. He called me every single day, even if it was just for 5 minutes. He came over for dinner every Sunday without fail. We would cook together, watch old movies, and talk about everything. He told me about his cases at the law firm. He asked my advice about life decisions. He never made me feel like a burden. He made me feel like I mattered. Then 2 years ago, Tyler met Christina at a networking event. He called me that night sounding excited in a way I had never heard before. He said, "Mom, I think I met someone special." I was happy for him. I truly was. I wanted nothing more than for my son to find love and build a family of his own. The first time I met Christina was at a restaurant downtown. She was beautiful, I will give her that. Perfectly styled blonde hair, designer clothes, manicured nails. She smiled at me and shook my hand, but something felt off. Her eyes scanned me from head to toe, lingering on my simple dress and sensible shoes. She asked me what I did for work, and when I told her I owned a flower shop, she tilted her head and said, "Oh, how quaint. That is so sweet." I told myself I was being too sensitive. I told myself she was just nervous meeting her boyfriend's mother. I wanted to believe the best in her. A few months later, Tyler brought me to meet Christina's parents. We went to a restaurant I could never afford on my own. The kind of place with cloth napkins and waiters who look down their noses at you. Gloria, Christina's mother, sat across from me with perfect posture and a smile that never reached her eyes. She asked where I went to college. When I said I never finished my degree because I got married young, she raised one eyebrow and said, "I see." Martin, Christina's father, barely acknowledged me at all. He spent most of the dinner talking to Tyler about real estate investments and stock portfolios. I sat there feeling like a piece of furniture, invisible, irrelevant. After that dinner, things started to change. Tyler's Sunday visits became every other Sunday, then once a month, then only on holidays. When I called him, he was always rushing off the phone. I heard Christina's voice in the background more and more often. I heard Gloria's voice too, giving instructions, making plans. Plans that never seemed to include me. I tried not to let it hurt me. I told myself that Tyler was building his own life. That was natural. That was healthy. But deep down, a small voice kept whispering that I was losing my son. One phone call at a time. One canceled dinner at a time. One excuse at a time. 6 months ago, Tyler called me with exciting news. He was going to propose to Christina. He had already bought the ring. He sounded so happy, and despite my complicated feelings about his girlfriend, I was genuinely thrilled for him. I asked him when he was planning to pop the question. He said he wanted to do it somewhere special, maybe during a trip to Paris in the spring. That night, I could not sleep. I kept thinking about Tyler as a little boy running through the house with his toy trucks, asking me to read him one more bedtime story. I thought about Marcus and how proud he would be to see his son getting married. I thought about all the sacrifices I had made over the years. All the double shifts, all the skipped vacations, all the times I went without so Tyler could have more. The next morning, I made a decision. I would give Tyler the honeymoon of a lifetime. I had been saving money for years in a separate account, a little bit every month from the flower shop profits. It was not a lot by most standards, but it added up over time. $25,000. I had originally planned to use it for my own retirement, maybe a small condo somewhere warm. But Tyler's happiness meant more to me than any condo. I called Tyler that weekend and told him about my gift. I said, "Honey, I have been saving for something special, and I want to give it to you and Christina for your honeymoon. $25,000. You can go anywhere in the world." Tyler was speechless for a moment. Then his voice cracked and he said, "Mom, you do not have to do that. That is too much." I told him it was not too much. I told him he was my son, and I wanted to give him the best start to his marriage. He thanked me over and over. He said, "I love you, Mom. You are incredible." The next day, Tyler sent me his bank account information. I transferred the full amount that same afternoon. $25,000. Every penny I had saved for the past 5 years. Gone in one click. But I did not feel sad. I felt proud. I felt like I was doing what Marcus would have wanted, but I did not stop there. I wanted to make their honeymoon truly unforgettable. I spent hours researching destinations, reading reviews, comparing prices. Finally, I decided on the Maldives, crystal clear water, private bungalows over the ocean, the kind of place you see in magazines. I booked 2 business class tickets for Tyler and Christina, another $20,000 from my savings. I figured I could work a few more years before retiring. Tyler's happiness was worth it. When I told Tyler about the flights, he seemed genuinely touched. He said he would tell Christina and they would start planning the details together. I asked if maybe the 3 of us could get together soon to talk about wedding plans. I offered to do the flowers for the ceremony free of charge. Tyler hesitated before answering. He said he would check with Christina and get back to me. A week passed, then 2 weeks, then a month. Every time I asked about meeting up, Tyler had an excuse. Work was crazy. Christina was traveling for business. They were still figuring out the details. I tried to be patient. I tried not to push. But I noticed that Tyler's phone calls were getting shorter. His texts were becoming one-word responses. Something felt wrong, but I could not put my finger on what. One afternoon, my sister Patty called me from Phoenix. We try to talk at least once a week, though life often gets in the way. Patty is 7 years younger than me, but she has always been my protector. Even as kids, she would fight anyone who tried to mess with me. That day, she asked how things were going with Tyler and the wedding. I told her about the money I had given him about the flights I had booked. She went quiet for a long moment. Then she said, "Susan, I need you to be careful." I asked her what she meant. She said, "I just have a bad feeling about this. Those people are not like us. They come from money, and money changes people. I know you want to believe the best in Tyler, but do not let them take advantage of your kindness." I brushed off her concerns. I told her Tyler would never do that. He was my son. He loved me. I had raised him better than that. But Patty's words stayed with me. They echoed in my mind every time Tyler canceled our plans. Every time Christina failed to return my messages. Every time I felt that growing distance between me and the boy I had given everything for. 3 weeks ago, I called Tyler on a Saturday evening. I had not seen him in almost 2 months, and I missed him terribly. I asked if he wanted to come over for dinner. I told him I would make his favorite meal, the pot roast recipe that Marcus used to love. Tyler said he was sorry, but he could not make it that night. He had some kind of gathering to attend. I asked him what kind of gathering. He paused for a second too long before answering. He said, "It is just a meeting, Mom. A small thing with some of Christina's coworkers. Nothing important. Just boring work stuff." I asked if I could come along. I said I would not mind meeting some of Christina's friends. Tyler laughed nervously and said, "Trust me, Mom, you would be bored out of your mind. It is all real estate talk, numbers and contracts. You would hate it." I told him I understood. I wished him a good time. I said I loved him. He said he loved me too, and then he hung up. I stood there in my kitchen, holding the phone, feeling that familiar ache in my chest. The ache of being pushed away by someone you love. That night, I stayed home alone. I made a simple dinner for one. I watched television without really seeing it. I went to bed early feeling lonely in a way I had not felt since Marcus died. I told myself I was being dramatic. Tyler was a grown man with his own life. He did not owe me his weekends. The next morning, I woke up around 7 and made myself a cup of coffee. I sat at my kitchen table scrolling through my phone out of habit. I opened the social media app where I occasionally check on what my friends and family are posting. I was not looking for anything in particular. Just killing time on a quiet Sunday morning. And then, I saw it. Christina had posted a new album of photos. The cover image showed her and Tyler standing together under a glittering archway. Champagne glasses raised huge smiles on their faces. The caption read, "The most magical engagement party ever, surrounded by everyone we love." My heart stopped. I clicked on the album. There were over 100 photos. I scrolled through them one by one, my hands trembling, my coffee growing cold beside me. The party had been held at Gloria and Martin's mansion in Cherry Hills Village. The house was decorated like something from a fairy tale. Thousands of white flowers, crystal chandeliers, a giant banner that read, "Congratulations, Tyler and Christina," in elegant gold letters. There was a towering cake, at least 5 tiers covered in delicate sugar flowers. There was a string quartet in the corner. There were waiters in white jackets serving hors d'oeuvres on silver trays. I kept scrolling. Photo after photo of smiling faces. Tyler's law firm colleagues, Christina's real estate friends, Gloria's society circle, Martin's business associates, aunts, uncles, cousins from Christina's side of the family. Everyone was dressed in formal attire. Everyone was having the time of their lives. And in all of those photos, more than 100 of them, I was nowhere to be seen. I was not there because I had not been invited. My own son's engagement party. The celebration of his decision to spend his life with someone. And I was not there. I had been deliberately excluded, lied to, told it was just a small meeting when in reality, it was the biggest party of his life. I called Tyler immediately. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hit the right buttons. He answered on the 4th ring, his voice groggy with sleep. "Mom, why are you calling so early?" I tried to keep my voice steady. I said, "Tyler, I saw the photos on Christina's page. You told me it was just a meeting." Silence, a long, horrible silence. Then Tyler sighed and said, "So you saw that, huh?" I said, "You lied to me. That was your engagement party. And you did not invite me, your own mother." More silence. Then Tyler started making excuses. He said Christina and Gloria were worried I would not be comfortable at such a fancy event. He said they did not want me to feel out of place. He said they were trying to protect me from feeling awkward around all those wealthy, sophisticated people. I could not believe what I was hearing. I asked him one question. I said, "Did you even try to stand up for me? Did you even suggest that maybe your mother should be invited to your engagement party?" Tyler did not answer. That silence told me everything I needed to know. I heard Christina's voice in the background asking who was on the phone. Tyler said he had to go. He promised to call me back later. And then the line went dead. I sat there in my kitchen, staring at my phone, feeling like the world had collapsed around me. All that money, all that love, all those years of sacrifice. And this was what I got in return. A lie, an exclusion, a slap in the face from the person I loved most in this world. I did not leave my house for 2 days after seeing those photos. I called in sick to the shop and asked Denise, my most trusted employee, to handle things. I could not face anyone. I could barely face myself in the mirror. On the afternoon of the second day, Denise called me. She sounded nervous, like she was struggling to tell me something. I asked her what was wrong. She took a deep breath and said, "Susan, I need to tell you something, but I am not sure if I should." I told her to just say it. Whatever it was, I needed to know. She said that last Saturday she had been hired to do a flower delivery for a large party in Cherry Hills Village. She did not know whose party it was until she arrived and saw the banner with Tyler and Christina's names. She said she walked around looking for me, assuming I would be there. When she could not find me, she figured I was in another part of the house. But then she overheard something. Gloria was standing near the entrance greeting guests. One of the guests asked if Tyler's mother was there. Gloria smiled that fake smile of hers and said, "Unfortunately, Susan could not make it. She had some prior commitment with her little flower business." Denise paused. I could hear her breathing heavily on the other end of the line. Then she said, "Susan, there is more." I heard Gloria say something else to another guest later. She said, "Honestly, it is probably better this way. Susan is a sweet woman, but she would not have fit in with this crowd. You know how it is." I felt like I had been punched in the stomach. Not only had they excluded me, but they had lied about it to the guests. They had pretended I was too busy to come. They had talked about me behind my back like I was some kind of embarrassment to be hidden away. I thanked Denise for telling me. She apologized over and over, saying she had debated whether to say anything. I told her she had done the right thing. I needed to know the truth, even if it hurt. After I hung up with Denise, my neighbor Henry stopped by. Henry is 72 years old, a widower who lost his wife about 3 years ago. He and I have become good friends over the years. We look out for each other the way neighbors should. Henry noticed I had not been outside in days. He was worried about me. I invited him in and told him everything that had happened. He listened without interrupting, his weathered face growing more and more troubled. When I finished, Henry said, "Susan, I need to tell you something. I was not sure if I should mention it, but now I think you need to hear it." He told me that about a month ago he had run into Tyler and Christina at the grocery store. They did not see him, but he was close enough to hear their conversation. Christina was talking about the engagement party. She said, and Henry remembered her exact words, "I do not want your mother involved in the wedding at all. She will embarrass my family." Can you imagine her standing next to my parents in the photos? Henry said Tyler did not argue. He just nodded and said, "I will figure out a way to handle it." Handle it, like I was a problem to be solved. Like I was an inconvenience to be managed. I thanked Henry for telling me. After he left, I sat in my living room in complete darkness. I did not turn on the lights. I did not turn on the television. I just sat there, processing everything I had learned. My son was ashamed of me. The child I had given everything for, the boy I had sacrificed my dreams to raise, was ashamed of his own mother. He thought I was not good enough to be seen at his engagement party. He thought I would embarrass him in front of his future in-laws. And he had chosen them over me. That night, I could not sleep. I kept hearing Marcus's voice in my head. He used to tell me, "Susan, never let anyone make you feel like you are not enough. Not anyone. Not even our children. You deserve respect. You deserve love. You deserve to be treated with dignity." I got out of bed around 2 a.m. and went to my home office. I turned on the computer and stared at the screen for a long time. I thought about the $25,000 sitting in Tyler's account. Money I had saved $1 at a time. Money I had earned through years of hard work. Money I had given freely out of love. And then I thought about how that love had been repaid. With lies. With exclusion. With shame. I made my decision right there in the blue glow of the computer screen. If I was not good enough to attend my son's engagement party, then my money was not good enough for his honeymoon. I logged into my bank account. I initiated a transfer of $25,000 from Tyler's account back to mine. The money I had given him was in a joint account that I had access to in case of emergencies. Well, this felt like an emergency of the heart. Next, I called the airline. It was the middle of the night, but they have 24-hour customer service. I canceled both business class tickets to the Maldives. The agent asked if I was sure. I said I had never been more sure of anything in my life. I lost some money in cancellation fees, but I got most of it back. By the time I finished, it was almost 4 a.m. I sat back in my chair and took a deep breath. For the first time in weeks, I felt like I could breathe again. I was not just sitting around waiting to be heard anymore. I was taking action. I was taking back my power, but I was not done yet. I picked up my phone and texted Patty. I typed, "How would you like to go to Aspen with me tomorrow?" She texted back within minutes, even though it was the middle of the night. She wrote, "I am already packing my bags. See you at the airport." I did not send Tyler a message. I did not call to explain. I did not give him any warning. He would find out soon enough. And when he did, he would know exactly why. Patty and I met at the Denver airport the next morning. She had flown in from Phoenix on the first available flight. When she saw me, she wrapped her arms around me and held me tight. She did not say anything at first. She just held me. Sometimes, that is all you need. We boarded our flight to Aspen and found our seats. As the plane took off, Patty squeezed my hand and said, "You did the right thing, Susan. You know that, right?" I nodded, but I was not entirely sure yet. Part of me still felt guilty. Part of me still wondered if I was being too harsh. We arrived in Aspen around noon and took a taxi to a small cabin I had rented online. It was nothing fancy, just a cozy 2-bedroom place with a fireplace and a view of the mountains. But it was peaceful. It was quiet. It was exactly what I needed. That afternoon, Patty and I bundled up and walked through the town. The streets were lined with quaint shops and restaurants. Snow was falling gently, covering everything in a soft white blanket. I felt 1,000,000 miles away from Denver, from Tyler, from all the pain of the past few weeks. We stopped at a little cafe for hot chocolate. Patty looked at me across the table and said, "Tell me everything. Start from the beginning, and do not leave anything out." So I did. I told her about the engagement party, about the photos, about what Denise had overheard, about what Henry had heard at the grocery store. I told her about the money I had transferred back and the flights I had canceled. I told her about the years of feeling like I was being slowly pushed out of my son's life. Patty listened to every word. When I finished, her eyes were wet with tears. She said, "Susan, I am so sorry. I had a feeling something like this was happening, but I never imagined it was this bad." I said, "The worst part is not the money. The worst part is knowing that my own son thinks I am not good enough, that he is ashamed of me." Patty reached across the table and grabbed my hand. She said, "Listen to me. You are the best person I know. You raised that boy by yourself after Marcus died. You worked yourself to the bone to give him a good life. If he cannot see your value, that is his loss, not yours." That evening, Patty and I had dinner at a beautiful restaurant on the mountainside. The views were spectacular. Snow-capped peaks stretching as far as the eye could see, a sky full of stars. It was the kind of place I had always dreamed of visiting, but never thought I would. When the waiter brought us the menu, Patty said we should order champagne. I hesitated at first. I am not usually a champagne person, but Patty insisted. She said, "We are celebrating tonight, celebrating you finally standing up for yourself." So we ordered a bottle. When it arrived, the waiter popped the cork with a satisfying sound. He poured 2 glasses of golden bubbles and set them in front of us. Patty raised her glass and said, "To my sister Susan, the strongest woman I know. May this be the beginning of a new chapter." We clinked glasses and drank. The champagne was delicious, cold and crisp and full of tiny bubbles that danced on my tongue. I felt something I had not felt in a long time. I felt free. After dinner, Patty pulled out her phone and said, "We need to document this moment." She snapped a photo of me holding my champagne glass, the mountain view sparkling behind me through the window. The fireplace in the corner cast a warm glow over everything. I was smiling, a real smile, not the forced kind I had been wearing for months. Back at the cabin, I looked at the photo. It was beautiful. I looked happy, peaceful, like a woman who had finally decided to put herself first. Before I could overthink it, I posted the photo to my social media page. I added a simple caption. Sometimes the best decision is to choose yourself. Cheers to new beginnings from Aspen. I did not mention Tyler. I did not explain what had happened. I did not justify anything. I just posted the photo and put my phone face down on the nightstand. Patty grinned at me from across the room. She said, "You know your phone is going to explode tomorrow morning, right?" I shrugged and said, "Let it explode. I am done caring." We turned off our phones and spent the rest of the evening talking by the fire. Patty told me stories about her life in Phoenix, about her grandkids, about the hiking trails she had discovered. I felt warm and safe and loved. For the first night in what felt like forever, I slept peacefully. The next morning, I woke up around 8. Sunlight was streaming through the curtains, making the fresh snow outside sparkle like diamonds. I felt rested, calm, ready to face whatever came next. I reached for my phone and turned it on. It took almost a full minute to load all the notifications. When it finally stopped buzzing, I looked at the screen and felt my breath catch in my throat. 47 missed calls, 23 text messages, multiple voicemails, all from the past 8 hours. The first message was from Tyler. It said, "Mom, what did you do? Where is the money? The flights are canceled." The second message was from Tyler again. It said, "This is not funny. Call me back right now." The third message was from Christina. It read, "Susan, you are being incredibly selfish and petty. How dare you sabotage our honeymoon? You are ruining everything." The fourth message was from a number I did not recognize. It said, "This is Gloria. We need to discuss your inappropriate behavior. What you have done is unacceptable. The fifth message was from another number I did not know. It said, Mrs. Thompson, this is Martin. I strongly suggest you reverse these transactions immediately. We will not tolerate this kind of manipulation. I scrolled through more messages. Some were from Tyler, growing increasingly desperate. Some were from Christina, growing increasingly angry. Some were from Gloria and Martin, growing increasingly threatening. Patty woke up and came over to see what I was looking at. She read a few of the messages over my shoulder and let out a low whistle. She said, "Wow. They really did not see this coming, did they?" I shook my head. I deleted all the messages without reading the rest. I cleared all the voicemails without listening to them. Then I wrote one single text message to Tyler. Just a few sentences. I typed, "You chose not to invite me to the most important day of your life so far. You lied to me about where you were going. You let your future wife and her family exclude me and talk about me behind my back. So I chose to take back what I gave you. The money was mine. I earned it, and I decide how it gets spent. Do not contact me until you are ready to have a real conversation about respect." I hit send. Then I turned off my phone again and set it aside. Patty put her arm around my shoulders. She said, "How do you feel?" I thought about it for a moment. Then I smiled and said, "I feel peaceful. For the first time in months." We spent the rest of the day exploring Aspen. We went shopping. We had lunch at a little bistro. We took a scenic drive through the mountains. I did not look at my phone once. I did not think about Tyler or Christina or Gloria or Martin. I just enjoyed being alive, being with my sister, being in a beautiful place. That night, as we watched the sun set over the peaks, I thought about Marcus. I wondered what he would think of everything that had happened. And somewhere deep in my heart, I knew he would be proud. He would tell me I had finally learned to stand up for myself, to demand the respect I deserved, to stop accepting crumbs from people who should be giving me the whole loaf. A week later, I returned to Denver. The drive from the airport felt different somehow. The city looked the same, but I was not the same woman who had left. Something had shifted inside me. I felt stronger, more sure of myself. When I got home, I found Tyler sitting on my front porch. He stood up as I pulled into the driveway. He looked terrible. Dark circles under his eyes, unshaven face, wrinkled clothes. He looked like he had not slept in days. I got out of my car and walked toward the porch. Tyler started toward me, but I held up my hand to stop him. I said, "You can say what you need to say right here. I am not inviting you inside." Tyler flinched like I had slapped him. He said, "Mom, please, we need to talk about this." I said, "Then talk." He ran his fingers through his hair, a nervous habit he had since childhood. He said, "What you did was really extreme. Christina is devastated. Her parents are furious. Our honeymoon is ruined." I waited for him to continue. When he did not, I said, and he looked confused. He said, "And what, you transferred out $25,000 without warning. You canceled our flights. You posted that photo like you were celebrating." I said, "I was celebrating. I was celebrating finally standing up for myself after months of being pushed aside and lied to." Tyler shook his head. He said, "Mom, you are blowing this out of proportion. It was just a party. Christina and Gloria were trying to protect you. They did not want you to feel uncomfortable." I felt something hot rise in my chest. I said, "Protect me? By lying to me? By telling everyone I was too busy to come? By saying behind my back that I would embarrass your fancy new family?" Tyler went pale. He said, "Who told you that?" I said, "It does not matter who told me. What matters is that it is true. You knew they were excluding me, and you did not say a word. You did not stand up for me. You let them treat me like I was something to be ashamed of." Tyler started to cry. I had not seen him cry since he was a little boy. The tears rolled down his cheeks and his voice cracked when he spoke. He said, "I am sorry, Mom. I know I messed up. I was scared of losing Christina. Her family is so powerful, and I did not want to rock the boat." I said, "So instead, you threw your own mother overboard." He did not have an answer for that. We stood there in silence for what felt like hours. The sun was setting, casting long shadows across the yard. Finally, I spoke again. I said, "Tyler, I love you. I will always love you. You are my son, and nothing can change that. But love does not mean I have to accept being treated like garbage. Love does not mean I have to give and give while receiving nothing but disrespect in return." He said, "What do I have to do to fix this?" I said, "Words are not enough. You have told me you are sorry before. You have promised to do better before. But nothing changes. If you want to fix this, you need to prove it through your actions. You need to show me that I matter to you, not just when you need my money or my help, all the time." Tyler nodded slowly. He asked if he could hug me. I hesitated, then said yes. He wrapped his arms around me and held on tight. I could feel his tears on my shoulder. I hugged him back, but I kept my guard up. I was not going to let a few tears erase everything that had happened. Before he left, I told him one more thing. I said, "I am not going to compete with Christina's family for your attention. I refuse to beg for a place in your life. If you want me there, you will have to make room for me. And if Christina cannot accept that, then you need to decide what kind of man you want to be." Tyler drove away as the last light faded from the sky. I went inside and sat down in my favorite chair. The house was quiet, too quiet, but it was a different kind of quiet than before. It was not the quiet of loneliness. It was the quiet of peace. The months that followed were a time of healing for me. I threw myself into the flower shop with renewed energy. I hired 2 new employees and expanded our delivery area. I started offering flower arrangement classes on Saturday mornings, which turned out to be surprisingly popular. I also joined a community gardening group that met twice a week. That was where I met some of the best friends I have made in years. Women my age who understood what it was like to rebuild your life after loss. We would work in the garden together, getting our hands dirty, talking about everything and nothing. Patty and I started a new tradition. Every 3 months, we would meet up somewhere for a sister's trip. Sometimes she came to Denver. Sometimes I flew to Phoenix. Once we met in the middle in New Mexico and spent a week exploring Santa Fe. Those trips became the highlight of my calendar. Henry continued to be a wonderful neighbor and friend. He would come over for dinner sometimes, and I would cook too much food just so he could take the leftovers home. We started doing crossword puzzles together on Sunday mornings. It was simple and quiet and exactly what I needed. As for Tyler, things did not change overnight. But they did change. Slowly. He started calling more often. Not every day like before, but once or twice a week. Real conversations, not just quick check-ins. He asked about my life, about the flower shop, about my new friends. He listened when I talked. He started coming to visit without Christina. Just him and me like the old days. We would cook dinner together and watch movies. He would help me with things around the house. He never mentioned the money or the canceled flights. Neither did I. Some wounds do not need to be reopened. I learned from Denise that Tyler had some arguments with Christina and her family after everything happened. Apparently, Gloria blamed Tyler for the whole situation. She said he should have managed his mother better. Christina was upset that their honeymoon plans were ruined. There was talk of postponing the wedding. I did not take any satisfaction in their troubles. I truly did not. I wanted Tyler to be happy. But I also knew that happiness built on excluding and disrespecting his mother was not real happiness. It was just a house of cards waiting to collapse. About 6 months after Aspen Tyler came to visit me at the shop, he walked in while I was arranging lilies for a wedding order. He looked different somehow, calmer, more sure of himself. He picked up a flower and twirled it between his fingers. He said, "Mom, do you remember when I was little and you used to let me help you in the garden? I would pick all the weeds and you would tell me I was doing a great job, even though I probably pulled up more flowers than weeds." I smiled at the memory. I said, "You were so proud of yourself. You would run to show your dad every dandelion you pulled." Tyler set down the flower and looked at me. He said, "I have been doing a lot of thinking about who I was then, about who I have become, and I do not like all of it." I waited for him to continue. He said, "I let Christina and her family change me. I was so focused on fitting in with them that I forgot where I came from. I forgot the values you and Dad taught me. I forgot that family is not about money or status. It is about loyalty and love and showing up for each other." I felt tears forming in my eyes. I said, "That is the smartest thing you have said in a long time." Tyler said, "I cannot promise everything will be perfect from now on, but I can promise that I will try harder. I will stand up for you. I will make sure you are included. And if anyone, including Christina or her family, tries to disrespect you, I will not stay silent anymore." I put down my scissors and walked over to my son. I hugged him, and this time it felt different. It felt like the beginning of something new. It has been a little over a year since that engagement party I was not invited to. A lot has changed in that time. Tyler and Christina are still together, but they have not gotten married yet. Tyler says they need more time to work on their relationship. He says Christina is learning to see me differently, though I am not sure I believe that. Some people do not change, but I have decided that is not my problem to solve. What I have learned through all of this is that loving someone does not mean you have to lose yourself. I spent so many years putting Tyler first, putting his needs above my own, sacrificing everything for his happiness. And I do not regret any of it. Being his mother is the greatest joy of my life. But I have also learned that I deserve respect. I deserve to be treated with dignity. I deserve to be included in the important moments of my child's life, not hidden away like some shameful secret. The $25,000 I took back is sitting in my savings account. I have not decided what to do with it yet. Maybe I will use it for retirement like I originally planned. Maybe I will donate it to charity. Maybe I will take another trip with Patty. The point is, it is mine to decide. I still think about that night in Aspen sometimes. The champagne, the mountains, the feeling of finally choosing myself after a lifetime of choosing everyone else. It was one of the best nights of my life. Not because I was getting revenge on Tyler. That was never what it was about. It was about reclaiming my own worth. It was about saying loud and clear that I matter too. If you are watching this and you have been through something similar, I want you to know that you are not alone. Maybe it is your child. Maybe it is your spouse. Maybe it is your friend or your sibling. Whoever it is, whoever is making you feel like you are not enough, I want you to hear this. You are enough. You have always been enough. And anyone who cannot see that does not deserve the gift of your love. Do not wait for them to change. Do not keep giving and giving while they take and take. Stand up for yourself. Set boundaries. And if they cannot respect those boundaries, then maybe it is time to create some distance. It is not easy. I know it is not. But I promise you, on the other side of that, pain is freedom. Real freedom. The kind of freedom that comes from knowing your own worth and refusing to settle for less. So, here I am, 55 years old now, running my little flower shop, spending time with my sister and my friends, slowly rebuilding my relationship with my son on healthier terms. Life is not perfect. It never will be. But it is mine, and I am finally living it on my own terms. That photo I posted from Aspen is still on my social media page. Every once in a while, I look at it and smile. It reminds me of the night I stopped being a doormat. The night I realized that choosing yourself is not selfish. It is necessary. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever had to set boundaries with someone you love? Have you ever felt excluded by your own family? What did you do about it? Drop your story in the comments below. I read every single one, and I think we can all learn from each other's experiences. If this story touched you, please hit that like button. It really helps more people find these videos. And if you are not already subscribed, go ahead and click that subscribe button so you do not miss any future stories. Share this video with someone who might need to hear it. Maybe a friend who is going through a tough time with their family. Maybe a parent who feels like they are being pushed aside. Sometimes knowing that others have been through the same thing makes all the difference. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for letting me share my story with you. I hope it brought you some comfort, some hope, or maybe just a reminder that you deserve to be loved and respected. Take care of yourselves. And remember, sometimes the bravest thing you can do is pour yourself a glass of champagne and say, I choose me. Until next time.